So as you can tell, I was dealt probably the best hand this semester, getting 4 amazingly collaborative, open, willing to learn interns that despite my best efforts at boot camp to scare away with a superfluous amount of puns in my project pitch to them, still decided to join my team and work on the CopterSonde this semester. They've amazed me with their diverse backgrounds and just general willingness to accept my nitpicky critiques or comments about emotional volume with a smile and a degree of professionalism that's truly inspiring. In addition to team meetings, class, and a few lavish team brunches, I would say we've truly become friends and more than just colleagues. I'd like to give a special shout out to our 2 graduating seniors, Eduardo and V. My heart breaks for them that they won't get a formal graduation ceremony, so hopefully this is the first of many warm congratulations we can give to them. I'll also shout out Michelle and Felipa. They aren't graduating, but don't want anyone to feel left out. But without further ado, I'll hand it off to the team, and I'm excited for you guys to hear about all the hard work they've been doing this semester.
Thank you, Jake. So have you noticed that almost everything in our lives depends on us knowing what the weather is outside? Be it the activities that we do, the clothes that we wear, or even the means of transportation that we choose to take. It all depends on whether it's raining outside or not. And we got this information from technology that measures the weather data in the planetary boundary layer, which is accurate data is crucial in our daily lives, which is why our clients, Dr. Chilson and Dr. Pilar Little, developed the CopterSonde, which is a drone that is able to measure this weather data. So this semester, with the help of our team lead, Jacob Moser, and our fellow Haley Rader, the team had the job of figuring out how to best commercialize CopterSonde. And we did so by interviewing over 30 experts. And this led us to understand what are the current gaps in technology that measures this vertical weather data. We also found a $500 million market that targets public and private weather market and weather services, as well as academic research. We also found a manufacturer and a distributor that in a course of 5 years will bring over $300,000 of profit to OU. My name is Filipa Carvalho, and I'll let the team introduce themselves.
Hi, my name is B. Ding.
My name is Michelle Katemauswa.
My name is Eduardo Campbell.
And we are Team CopterSonde. So current technology does not provide enough accurate information on the planetary boundary layer. The planetary boundary layer is basically the area that surrounds us. It goes from our level up to 6 vertical miles. And it's where most of our weather phenomena occur. The current technology that measures this planetary boundary layer is radiosondes, or also known as weather balloons. They collect about 5 minutes of data in their 2-hour ascent, meaning they're not very efficient. They are also not reusable, with only 1 in 5, or about 20% of them being recoverable and then to be used for their materials. And if you're releasing 2 weather balloons per day in one location, you will be spending $146,000 per year, meaning that in the 92 locations that do so in the US, we spend about $13.4 million every year. So OU developed CopterSonde, which fulfills this current need for more accurate planetary boundary layer data. The CopterSonde is a drone, as I've said before, that collects about 18.5 minutes of data, meaning that it's 3.6 times more, collects 3.6 times more data than radiosondes do this. It is also reusable at any time of the day, multiple times a day, meaning that researchers and scientists can collect data as often as they need to without being bound by the fact that they can only use it once. So in a location, since it is reusable, you only spend $15,000 per year for the CopterSonde because you can use it as often as you want to. And so if you use CopterSonde in these 92 locations in the US, per year you'll be saving around $12 million. But what exactly makes the CopterSonde so special? I'll let my colleague V go into it.
Thank you, Felipa. Like Felipa mentioned before, CopterSonde has a unique capability to address these vertical data gaps. But what makes CopterSonde really special is its actual physical design. First and foremost, it has a patent-pending nose cone design, which allows for higher air sampling resolution. Second, it is modular in design, which allows for easy maintenance and swappage of swappage. So if a battery gets low or if a part gets damaged, it can be easily replaced without needing to have to take apart the whole system. And the same can be said for the types of sensors on the CopterSonde as well. Finally, some researchers have expressed hesitation when it comes to utilizing drones to collect wind data due to the rotors themselves causing artificial disturbances. However, Dr. Chilson and Dr. Pilar Little have accounted for that and created an automatic wind-facing software system that, when coupled with the patent-pending nose cone design, mitigates the disturbance caused by the CopterSonde itself. Moving forward, I will expand further on this idea of this swappage of sensors. So as of right now, the CopterSonde currently collects data for temperature, humidity, pressure, and wind profiles. This type of data is typically used for micro forecasting and weather prediction modeling, such as local severe forecasting. However, we have seen through market research that there is a need in academia for gaseous sensors, specifically for CO2, CH4, and nitric oxides. Dr. Lars Eklund of Lund University noted that if we could accurately collect this type of data without the disturbance of winds, which we know that CopterSonde already does, then it would significantly impact how he conducts his own research. Development of these types of sensors would not only broaden the use cases, but it would also into the fields of atmospheric composition research, greenhouse gases measurement, and fire meteorology, but it would also significantly increase the market sizes for which CopterSonde could potentially penetrate. So we found that the data has shown that the total serviceable market for CopterSonde is estimated to be about $533.1 million. With market segments the market segments we have identified would be private weather, public weather, and academic weather, with academic weather being further segmented into those needing weather forecasting sensors and chemical sensors. Sensors. While it might seem on the due to the size of the markets that private and public might be the most illustrious markets to penetrate, we have found that actually that academic researchers are the ideal target market for initial entry. And the reason being is that academics through interviews conducted with experts in each of these markets, we have found that academic researchers had 100% interest in the data with 89% interest in the actual product of CopterSonde. They also had a relatively fast speed to purchase compared to the other markets that is estimated to be about a little over 3 months. In comparison, the National Weather Services, while they had 100% interest in the actual data that CopterSonde provides, very few were willing to commit to the idea of actually purchasing the CopterSonde for their own branch or offices, primarily because of the really lengthy bureaucratic process that that a federal agency like National Weather Service has to undergo, requiring congressional approval, things like that. It was estimated that a pilot program would take a minimum of 3 to 5 years for any kind of rollout for a technology like CopterSonde. As for the private industry, market research revealed that private weather industry actually doesn't primarily collect weather data themselves, rather they utilize the freely distributed data from National Weather Service. Which has led only to a 66% interest in the overall data, as well to a 0% interest in the product of CopterSonde as of right now. However, market research also revealed that the private weather industry is increasing exponentially as weather-dependent industries like agriculture, renewable energy are expanding. And so within the last few years, there has been a shift in the private weather industry from utilizing only freely distributed data to beginning to start collecting that weather data for themselves. And so while the private industry, weather companies we specifically spoke to were not interested at this time, many of them did note that pending further market validation and moving forward in the future, that they see a potential purchase for CopterSonde for their own operations later on. And so now I'll be handing it off to Michelle, who will be talking about competition and the business model.
Thank you, V. From the interviews that we had specifically with our end users, that is academic researchers in the atmospheric science department, they mentioned the need for technology that records better quality weather data. In an interview that we had with the professor from the University of Alaska, Dr. Facero, he mentioned the need for such a technology, especially in areas where there are very low temperatures and strong winds. This is where the CopterSonde comes in. We therefore compared the CopterSonde to some of the technology that is already available. That is drones that record weather data and weather balloons. From our comparisons, we found out that the CopterSonde would be a cheaper option than the technology that is available. This is because the drones that record weather data, specifically from micro drones and meteoromatics, these range from 30,000 to 100,000. Although 1 unit of a weather balloon is less expensive than the CopterSonde, in the long run, it becomes more expensive, as my colleague Philippa mentioned, especially in entities such as the National Weather Service that utilize multiple weather balloons. It is important to note that the CopterSonde will be sold as a standardized technology. This is very efficient for the manufacturer. It will reach our target end users much faster, and it will be very affordable. This is compared to the drones that are already available. These are customized by the end user. The end user has to approach their manufacturer, tell them what they need, and then they have to manufacture such a drone that is similar to the CopterSonde. This also accounts why it will take time and become even more expensive. As my colleague Philippa mentioned, weather balloons record less quality data compared to the CopterSonde. This is because the CopterSonde spends more time in this planetary boundary layer compared to the weather balloon. Now that we've looked at the competition of the CopterSonde, we'll move on to how the CopterSonde will reach our target end users. From the research that we conducted, we recommend the Office of Technology Commercialization here at the University of Oklahoma license exclusively with the distributor in exchange for 4% royalties and $25,000 as the licensing fee. That distributor will partner with the contractor who is a manufacturer, the manufacturer for the CopterSonde. The manufacturer should be able to have the expertise and the facilities to facilitate the manufacture and maintenance of the CopterSonde. The distributor, on the other hand, should have that reach to our target end users. That is researchers in the atmospheric science department and the National Weather Service. From the interviews that we had with people that would be interested in purchasing the CopterSonde, we came to an average value of $15,000. This is the amount that individuals would be willing to pay for the CopterSonde. We then calculated a 20% markup profit for the distributor. That's the $9,000. This is the amount that the distributor will pay the manufacturer in exchange for a manufactured 1 unit of CopterSonde. We have found a local manufacturer that will be willing to partner with a distributor to manufacture the CopterSonde, that is American Drones. We have also identified a distributor that is excited to partner with the Office of Technology Commercialization. This is Intermet, a weather instrumentation company here in the United States. At this point, I will hand over to Eduardo, who will talk about the financial implications of this business model.
Thank you, Michelle. Over the course of 5 years, CopterSonde will bring more than $330,000 in profit to the University of Oklahoma, as well as more than $8 million in profit to a distributor. It is important to say that the first 2 years of market penetration, the CopterSonde will target weather forecasting, and that is because this market is in need of the sensors that the CopterSonde currently provides. Furthermore, the CopterSonde will penetrate on the 3rd, 4th, and 5th year the public weather market. This will happen because this market requires a lot of bureaucratic processes. As one of our interviewees, PhD candidate Brian Green said, this market is highly interested in the CopterSonde, However, it requires things like budget approval, as well as Congress approval for it to be purchased. Furthermore, on the 3rd, 4th, and 5th year, the CopterSonde will also penetrate other academic markets as well as private markets by developing the chemical sensors my colleague talked previously. It is important to mention that in the first year of market penetration, OU will profit not only on the 4% of royalties, but also on the licensing fee valued on $25,000. In order to bring this profit to the university, the CopterSonde team should follow the following plan. During May to November 2020, the data suggests that the CopterSonde should finish patenting procedures, as well as the application for it, by adding a flexibility in future developments. CopterSonde should also start developing a nose cone shape for new sensors. After that, it should continue the nose cone development and licensing with a distributor. It should also start the paperwork with National Weather Services to speed up the penetration into that market. Furthermore, CopterSonde should also provide a budget for suggestions for National Weather Services to enter this market. It should also develop an online training to conduct large-scale sales, as well as providing a nose cone development to the distributor, then to expand to new markets. On behalf of Team CopterSonde, I want to say thank you so much to our clients, Dr. Peter Lira and Dr. Chilson, for giving us the opportunity to work in such an exciting project. We're all looking forward to see where this project is going to take in the few years. And with that, I open up the floor for questions.
Okay, it looks like our first question is coming from Facebook Live. So since it can be used multiple times, what is the lifespan? And how does this take into account damage over time?
So I can take that question. So the lifespan we found over research was 5 years, with having a maintenance check every year, which is part of the product that we will be selling.
Okay, our next question is, what is the CopterSonde ceiling? I assume this means how high can it reach? Yes, confirmed.
Yes, so the CopterSonde goes up around 1,800 meters.
That's above ground. Above sea level, it's 30-50 meters.
Okay, do we have any more questions? Give it a couple more seconds. People are typing.
Michael Rath has his hand raised. I don't know if you can see that.
Oh, I don't. Michael, do you want to ask your question?
Yeah, sure, absolutely. So I was wondering how involved it is to use these devices. So if they're going to try and use them frequently, or whoever's trying to administer them, do they take more effort on behalf of the weather information companies and things like that to process?
Can you repeat the question, please?
Yes, absolutely. So essentially what I'm trying to get at here is asking if actually utilizing these devices will be more involved for the companies that are operating them. So will it take more effort from them to use these versus what the competitors have?
Actually, it'll be less work than it's because it's a UVA. So the radio sound, which is the competitors, demands a higher organization for it to be sent twice to the atmosphere twice a day. So it will be less work for them as well. Does that respond to your question?
Yeah, absolutely. Perfect. Thank you.
Okay, and then our last question is going to come from Abby Marino. And what is the factor that nearly doubles the sales between year 4 and 5?
I guess that goes back to me again. So on the last 2 years, it's due to the pilot programs from the National Weather Services, as well as the new sensors developing on the 4th and 5th year.
Great, thank you, team.